Welcome back, my fellow agents. It is I, your underwater agent of awesome X7, the host of Zenorama, the podcast of heroes and monsters. And today we're going to be talking about, as you can see on the screen before you, the movie Atragon, or as it's known in Japan, Kaitei Gunkan, or Gunkan. This was filmed in 1963, released in Japan on December 22nd, and in the States in 1965. I don't see an actual date here. It ran 94 minutes in Japan and about 89 or 90 minutes in the US. A couple of scenes were shortened slightly. Overall, it's a spiffy movie. It's a good word, spiffy. Before we get too much further into it, that's just a great poster there. AIP did it, of course, so it's a little over dramatic, but it works. Before we get too long into it, too much further into it, please like, share, subscribe, vote in the poll. No, there's no poll. Please like, share, subscribe, leave a comment, and hit that notification button if you'd like to be notified every day for the new content. And if you could, just listen a couple minutes longer than you usually would. Really helps the algorithm. And I got to admit, I get a kick out of seeing Zenorama show up on YouTube, even when I'm not looking for it. All right. So we start out with this lovely bit of music. And that lovely AIP International Pictures. Just always meant you were in for a good time. Almost always. Right away, we just get going. There's a kidnapping going on, and these two photographers are wanting this model, but she's far more interested in seeing this crawl out of the water, which was presented in Famous Monsters as an actual sea creature instead of a guy in a suit. But I love the way the suit looks. It's crinkly and silvery, and it looks like a diving suit because it's got the big old face protector or goggles. And you can kind of see this. Now, this print came from Internet Archive, and it's glorious. It's remastered from the AIP. As you'll see, the AIP credits, which are full screen because that's pretty much the only one you can find now. Somewhere out there is definitely probably a 35 millimeter AIP print that no one will ever see again. So, ninth wonder of the world, Atragon. I thought King Kong was the eighth wonder of the world? Andre the Giant, although he's a few years away from being Andre the Giant here. But Atragon, which is short for Atlantis Dragon, from what I was told in Japanese Giants number 5, number 6. It's been a long time since I read them, but look up Showa magazines. You can get those on the Internet Archive, or you can order them on Amazon. They're well worth the price. Directed by the unusually, there's Inoshiro Honda again, but really it's Ishiro Honda. The translation is just a slight mistake on AIP's part, that they were not consistent. Here's our reporters, or not our reporters, but the photographers. They're just normal people. They get sucked into this whole adventure. I like that aspect. They're not military. They're not scientists. In fact, I don't think there are any scientists here. But this is our investigator who's wanting to figure out what's going on. They took a picture of this girl, and that's who they're after. The photographers, they want her to model for them because they'll make lots of money. Her name is Makoto, and she's played by Yoko Fujiyama. The investigator's back. Now they're all, what do you want now? There's our villain of the piece, and I believe that's Kenji Sahara as Umino. He's not the villain of the piece, but he's a villain. He's Agent 27 or 32 or 86 and a half of the Mu Empire. There's our ostensible hero and his daughter Makoto at age 3, and that's Captain Jinguji. And we'll see him a lot more later. He's played by Jun Tazaki in the role of his lifetime, and it's really great. They've gone out chasing after the admiral, who is right there. And I want to say that is Tadao Takashima, who also does a great job. The whole movie's great. It's a little slower moving, and it's far more character driven than Toho would become in a couple of years. There is spectacle and great effects, but it's really driven by both the admiral and his subordinate captain. This is the villain here. That might be Akira Takarada as Mu Agent number 23. He doesn't even get a real name. And it's Hiroshi Koizumi as Detective Ito. And, that's Ken Uhara as Rear Admiral Kasumi. So I'm not sure. Oh, Tadao must be the other guy. Yu Fujiki is the other photographer. And that's about it. Well, we'll get on to the two Muons that we get to find out about. They send them a film, and there's Manda, a shrine for Manda, and there everyone's watching the film, and then they attack. So there's the ship that gets blown out of the water, kaboom, and the ostensibly American Navy, who is a submarine that gets crushed because it can't go as deep as this one does, and they try, but they can't do it. So that's the entrance. These are the models. The reason that it says Atragon is Go is because it looks. It's the Thunderbirds. Probably took a lot from Japan watching these. The movies from Japan got into England, and a lot of it just reminds me of the Thunderbirds, and that's both of them. That's high compliments to both. And there is the High Priest of Mu, played by Hideo Amamoto, toy maker Minami, or Dr. Death, Dr. Shinigami in Kamen Rider, among many other things. One great actor for sure. And there is the shirtless, for the most part, Akihiko Hirata as Mu Agent number 23, and his subordinates there, Mo and Larry. They're after the plans. They want the Atragon that Jinguji's working on. There's the blueprints. Why they couldn't make it themselves is beyond me, so it must not have been complete. But the High Priest is looking at it, reading it like it's the Sunday funnies, isn't he? So I don't know what you'd call this. And steampunk is when they have modern technology combined with Victorian or Elizabethan time periods. This is like paleo punk or steam paleo or something, cyberpunk, not steampunk, but cyberpunk. So I don't know, cyber paleo, but they've got all this modern equipment right next to all of their other. The set designs here are just amazing overall. They're on their way to Jinguji's island because one of his men has been watching Makoto to keep her safe, but he got caught because they thought he was a muon. And there they are. Now they're on a set here, obviously. You can always tell fake jungle sets because they're too overgrown for the most part. And there is Jinguji in his spiffy white nail. How they kept this white for 20 years, because it's 20 years after the war ended. And they're having their reunion. He doesn't seem pleased to see his daughter at first, and she kind of faints. But here's a miniature set, or a nice process shot here, where they're underwater in the docking bay of the Atragon. And this is 30 minutes in when we're finally getting to see the Atragon. There it is. It's got the drill and some buzzsaws here. Yeah, it's the real deal here. Remember when ships used to look really cool? And now the close-up of them, everyone's watching the test run here. The salute. And here's another process shot where they're getting in. Just really well done. You can hardly tell the matte lines if you weren't looking for them. And there it is. It's getting ready to go into the water. Glug. That's one of the 5 models of the Gotengo, or the Atragon, if you will, that they made of different sizes, just so they could use them in different places and probably shoot a couple of things more than once, because it had a really short production time. And it still manages to just be an incredibly good movie. I would say it's probably their best one. I know that Gorath gets a lot of hype, but I really like this one. Gorath's pretty great too, and at some point I'll have to review that. But since we're in kind of an underwater theme here, which is why we got to hear Marine Boy's bubble theme.
Atragon, the most devastating device the mind of man has yet created. It travels on land and in the sea. It tunnels through the earth. Its crew, all supermen with super weapons.
That's not quite true, but once again, AIP's bombastic hype for a movie. And it would have got me in the theater, that's for sure. So here they're celebrating, and now the admiral and the captain have a frank exchange of ideas, as Calvin would call his disagreements with Hobbes, where the captain's a stubborn old man and wants to use the Atragon for Japan's glory, just Japan, not the rest of the world. So this is a very tense scene and really well acted and really well dubbed into English. They did a great job. The teacher crew, you'll know the voices. You can hear Corinne Orr. She's probably did all the female voices, but maybe not. Unfortunately, Wikipedia just never says where it's, doesn't always give credit to the voice actors. So we're going on here. They have now the daughter. Now he tries to ask what's wrong, and she's like, "You're going to doom the planet because you're so stubborn about Japan." And she's not wrong. And she does a great job. I don't see her name is not highlighted, so I couldn't tell you what else she's been in, but she does a great job here as well. I mean, she's annoyed and upset, and it's her dad she hadn't seen for it since she was 3 or 2 or something. Left alone in the ocean, figuratively. He's not standing in the ocean, but I just really like this shot. And then Umino grabs her. He reveals himself to be a muon and takes her hostage. So they're brought before the priest, the Empress of Mu, who that's all she's named. That's Tetsuko Kobayashi. And I don't know if she's got a highlight anywhere around here. She does a great job being arrogant and snide. Not so snide, but just sure of herself and that they're going to win. But she sentenced her what's his name? Wormtongue there tells him to feed him to Manda, the great god of the Moos. I thought that was Susumu Kurobe, but he's not listed, so perhaps it's not. They warn him if they don't give them the Atragon that the whole surface world will be destroyed by this tiny little continent. Good luck with that. And there's our first shot of the mighty Manda, which apparently literally is supposed to mean 10,000 meter serpent. It doesn't sound like it, but I'm not really couldn't tell you. It's a marionette, and it looks great when it's not supposed to be moving through the water. They revised the heads later on to resemble because of King Ghidorah. So when we got around to Destroy All Monsters, when it appeared again, it had a much more serpentine look, though it does have arms and legs, little teeny ones. How it can swim like that, I guess through the tail. The Manda from Final Wars was not an improvement on either version. But Umeni left a bomb, which trying to destroy the Atragon, but just succeeds in burying it. But while they're digging it up, they're also attacking the surface. While the good guys are digging it up, the Muons are attacking the surface world with their flying bat things that you don't really get a good look at, but they cause a lot of destruction, like this. There's another lovely process shot. I mean, unless you were looking, you wouldn't know. I can't imagine what this would have been like to see in the theater back then. Even 60, I mean, it's as old as the U.S. version is as old as your humble agent here. So they've captured everyone, these two, her soon-to-be boyfriend, probably current boyfriend, and the other two there, and they've been torturing her boyfriend. And then we got some nice shot. The Muon, probably the high priest, is telling them to surrender or they'll destroy all these cities. Here's a lovely miniature of I would say, Leningrad or Stalingrad or wherever it is in Russia. And then the Arc de Triomphe, which would get destroyed by Gorosaurus, strangely enough, burrowing underground and destroy all monsters. And I love that movie, so it's just he's not built to burrow underground. So I think Baragon tunneled for him, and he just was tired, so Gorosaurus got the glory. But I digress. They're burning their way through to get the Atragon because it's not destroyed; it's just stuck under all the debris. And then and Atragon is go. They should have done a countdown. 5. I should have done that, which is just sad because it would have fit right in here. And it goes right through digs right through the debris and everything and out the asteroid. They know they're not coming back, I would assume, but they might have to get personal belongings if they have any left. They've been there 20 years. They all should look a little older. And here we go. It rises out of the water. Now, tell me that doesn't look like Thunderbird 1. Or Thunderbird 1 doesn't look like that. Just a tiny bit. And they're going to strike at midnight. And they do. Lots of nice destruction scenes. And their ship with their laser zaps everything, all the ships that are around the island of Japan or Tokyo Bay, maybe. And all this time, he's cackling like a moron. Hey, we'll show you. Well, I can't do his dubbed voice, but he's just laughing maniacally, or megalomaniacally, if you will. But then they warn him the Atragon's coming. And meanwhile, in Mu, the good guys there have somehow gotten hold of nitroglycerin that if they drop, they'll kill everybody, and they're not going to sacrifice their empress. So they get out, they make her put on their silver space pajamas, and while the sub leaves, so do our heroes with the empress in tow. And now we get to see Manda in action. So when it's like this, it's impressive. I mean, it's a good-looking marionette. They're on the boat now, and it's such a roomy ship. When anyone who knows anything about submarines knows they are not. And the Empress she's probably a little impressed, but she does a really good job acting here. And they treat her like she's prisoner of war and don't do anything bad to her. And now they're going to go fight they're going to go attack so I just like that shot. You can't really, it's hard to see. Manda's wrapped itself around the ship, but it's got the same, later on, the sea view would have a lot of the same things, an electrical hull. It did have the flying sub, which was much smaller. It couldn't fly or burrow, but very similar in tone. This would have made a great series, and it was based on a bunch of books, or a couple of books. The Undersea Warship, A Fantastic Tale of Adventure by Shunro Ishikawa, and The Undersea Kingdom by Shigeru Komatsuzaki. Yeah, that's how we're going to say it. Kaitei Gunkan, The Undersea Warship. That's the Japanese name. So here's where Manda kind of fails, is when they're trying to show it swimming, and they should have figured something else out. I don't know what. Maybe a rod puppet instead of a marionette would have helped, but they were on a time crunch. They did the best they could. Manda really could have not been in the movie at all. Would have shortened it by about 8 minutes. 5 minutes at least. Yeah, but I like the movie. I'm always glad to see giant monsters in movies, even when they're unnecessary. Gorath, Atragon. What's the other one? There's a couple of more that really didn't need them. But it's such a cool monster. I'm glad it's there, but I mean, who would have taken its place in Destroy All Monsters? There's the Zero Cannon, or Sub-Zero Cannon, Absolute Zero Cannon, depending on, I suppose, the dub says Zero Cannon, which I think is a great enough name. But freezes Manda solid, doesn't kill it, doesn't say it kills it, it's underwater, so it can breathe underwater. Which would be why, came back for Destroy All Monsters, unlike Anguillus, who got his jaw ripped apart, and then that was in Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla. Gigantus chomped its throat, and it bled all over the place. So here's the inside of where the generators are as they harness the volcanic activity. Look at the size of those Daleks. Sub comes crashing through. Another nice process shot there. Here's the team of the Supermen that they're talking about in the trailer.
Freeze their enemies and enslave them.
They don't enslave them. The trailer makes them seem like they're the bad guys.
Fire and fear are the gods of terror on the hidden continent.
There's the freezing process.
No thing, no man, no adventurer can match the 9 amazing wonders of Atragon.
That's like Kamen Rider V3's 25 Secrets. They don't actually elaborate too much on them in the movie. But here's the process shot, and that might just be a painting, but they just come running through. So, and this is a process shot. Lovely. Look at the composition, though. I mean, Honda-san was such a great director. He just knew how to get you involved in a scene. You know, there's little guys here, but you're also looking at everything else. These computers, their steam paleo punk cyber thing. More Daleks who are about to get exterminated with these bombs that they're planting. And then they use the zero cannon to freeze the turbines, which result, look, snow already. And once they start slowing down, grinding to a halt, they withdraw, the Atragon withdraws, and kaboom! Which, then they watch, everything explodes. So here's a nice shot. The explosion in the background, the sub in the foreground, and then water. It's probably shot in the giant pool at Toho, which is what they did a lot of water scenes for. And then they go to battle with the remaining submarines. And it's a short battle. There's no it's not like Run Silent, Run Deep, which is also an amazing movie. The zero cannon. This is the only time it's an animated ray, but it freezes the sub there. And the Empress, goes to commit seppuku or die with her people. We're assuming that they're her people. And she runs off.
Nor the massive powers of its allegoric destroyer.
There's actually some better pictures, brighter colored pictures in that trailer that you'll see at the end. But she goes off, and you can see her there. She's swimming. Now, the prints I saw originally were full screen, and if it looked like that, you wouldn't see her there. And because I never knew what happened to her, this is the first time I've seen this. I've not watched this movie in quite a while, probably 10 years. So it's really fun. And there they go. All right, she decided to die with honor, even though Jinguji offers her to sign a peace treaty, and they could have survived. Nothing would have happened to her. Nothing bad. The Muons would still be alive and prospering probably, because it can't be a large gene pool down there, and it's not going to end well for them. Alas, people are stubborn when they think that they're in the right and are all powerful. That's the end. So
you will see wonders that challenge
yay,
the
Subaraya-san!
A threatened attack has begun. The United Nations has set up a defense headquarters to cope with the new empire's aggression.
So in those two, you'll see in those two scenes that they're using shots that are not in the movie. They're from the Mysterians and from Battle in Outer Space, the space bases, satellites. Not in the movie. Here's a trailer, the card, one of the AIP lobby cards. It's pretty much the best one I could find. And that's it. That is our show for today. Atragon is a wonderful movie, and it does have a really great reputation. The acting, and again, the dubbing is top notch, just like Mothra and Godzilla vs. The Thing. So those are probably the top 3 best dubbed AIP movies that you're going to find. Really, they're just really respectful. There's no, I'm sure, I don't know if Peter Fernandez was writing this at this point in time, the script. So there's some word, some funny stuff, little bits of humor here and there, but overall, it's a very serious movie. Far more than there's not humor in it like there is in Godzilla versus the Thing. But I highly recommend it. You can find a couple of different versions if you want to watch the dubbed version on Internet Archive. It's there, and the subtitled one's there as well. But overall, I highly recommend it. One of Toho's top 3 non-Godzilla movies. So, my fellow agents, that's it. And until next time, don't trust any wooden muons. This is X7 signing off.
Atragon, the most devastating device the mind of man has yet created. It travels on land and in the sea. It tunnels through the earth. Its crew, all supermen with super weapons, can freeze their enemies and enslave them. Fire and fear are the gods of terror on the hidden continent. No thing, no man, no adventurer can match the 9 amazing wonders of Atragon, nor the massive powers of its allegoric destroyer. You will see wonders that challenge the imagination.
The threatened attack has begun. The United Nations has set up a defense headquarters to cope with the new empire's aggression.
You will see flying saucers. You will know terror that panics the world.
Admiral Kusumi, I am agent number 23 of the Mu Empire. This earthquake is not accidental.
Atragon, the most devastating device the mind of man has yet created. It travels on land and in the sea. It tunnels through the earth. Its crew, all supermen with super weapons, can freeze their enemies and enslave them. Fire and fear are the gods of terror on the hidden continent. No thing, no man, no adventurer can match the 9 amazing wonders of Atragon, nor the massive powers of its allegoric destroyer. You will see wonders that challenge the imagination.
The threatened attack has begun. The United Nations has set up a defense headquarters to cope with the new empire's aggression.
You will see flying saucers. You will know terror that panics the world.
Admiral Kusumi. I am Agent number 23 of the Mu Empire. This earthquake is not accidental.